Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake. We are back. It is September 8th. We are 3 weeks and a day out from the first wild card game. How do you like that? It's in September as well. That means we've got less than 3 weeks to sort it out. 3 weeks and minus a day to figure out the postseason matchups, X factors, along with will anyone else be crashing the dance? We're going to dip our toe into a little bit of all of it. There's also the first weekend of football. I wasn't as engaged as I'd like because you guys will also get another Jakey travel blogs. I know that's what you guys sign up for as we had our big cricket match in Barbados. So I'm going to cover all of that. It's going to start off with baseball, because that's kind of what the company was. It was me and Jimmy. There was Yankees, and then it turned once a week podcast. No, we don't need to do the full story today. Although the Yankees are one of the talking points, the Yankees have handled their business this week. It is funny, the media in general is sick of the Yankees, and I know you all are. If you're one of the non-Yankee fans that listen to Wake and Jake, hey, thank you. Always appreciate you. I think everyone's just sick of the Yankees' BS and their general play style that Ken Rosenthal had in his athletic article. He did the 15 flawed playoff contenders, which, hey, shout out to Kenny. Kenny's kind of saying what everyone's saying in different ways right now is that none of the World Series teams are exciting. Who's the number one most exciting World Series team, BBD? Who's the team you point at the map? It was the Phillies if Wheeler's healthy. If
Wheeler was healthy, Phillies are like the closest to a flawless team. What's messed up, and they've been playing terrible for a while, but I think it kind of just is still the Dodgers, even though they have not played like they deserve it.
I don't think it is, especially after this past weekend. If you didn't see it, go check out the highlights.
Crazy.
If you're a baseball fan, well, okay, if you're a Dodgers fan tuning in, you're like, what the hell? Sorry, guys. They get walked off on Friday night. Samuel Basallo, top prospect that the Orioles locked up. And reminder, we are friends on Instagram, that his first home run was a walk-off against the Dodgers. And, hey, it's one baseball game. The Orioles, been trying to tell you guys, they're playing a better brand of baseball since June 1st. They're above 500. Okay, they win a game. This is the one, and this is just a beauty of sports, which we're going to talk about a lot of varied sports today. They had the 30th anniversary of Cal Ripken's Iron Man speech. Or not the speech, the record. It'd be weird if they just honored his speech. My guy, his son Ryan Ripken, who I've hopped on his program, threw out the first pitch to Dad. So how about that? But okay, that's something they've had mapped out all year. They put that on a calendar last November, whenever they did it, that they were going to do that on that Saturday. Orioles home game against the Dodgers. Okay, nice. Cal. He goes to a lot of games and stuff. Good for Baltimore. He's from the area. Forgot about that. The thing they didn't plan for, Davey Johnson, former Orioles manager, kind of the first guy I remember as Orioles manager, because that's when I was getting into baseball. Davey Johnson, longtime baseball lifer, pretty good ball player, like kind of a knockoff Dusty Baker. Doesn't have the career stats, but dude managed forever, dude played forever, baseball lifer. He shows up in all sorts of different videos. Unfortunately, one that goes viral once a year is he is the manager that said check A-Rod's bat. And then A-Rod and Griffey are both young pups and are all pissed off. A-Rod grabs one of Griffey's bats and hits a homer. Sick. Sorry, Davey Johnson, for your Instagram lexicon. But he passed away. This is a long speech to an RIP for a baseball lifer. But this happens on the same day. So it's RIP Davey Johnson, Cal Ripken's record. And then what happens? The baseball gods bring something else. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is going for a no-no. 8.2 innings, 0 hits. Young Jackson Holiday is up. Inside fastball, turns on it. Home run. 3-0, turns into 3-1. There goes the no-no. There goes the shutout. Weird effort by Pages at the wall. A lot of people were talking about that. I don't think he robs it. You'd like to see a better effort. I don't know. You'd like to see a better effort. I'm fine saying that. I don't think he gets near that ball. It is some weird confines over there. They have the big wall that goes to a littler wall in right field. Whatever. Yamamoto's most pitches in his major league career. They take him out, and things fall apart with that Dodgers bullpen so fast. Trinan has a bad time, and then Tanner Scott, who gave up the walk-off the day before to Basayo, gives up the walk-off to Emmanuel Rivera. It was a nice pitch. It was a 2-1 fastball. It was middle in. If he gets out on that, let's see Pages again. Because it lands, he just kind of watches it, which if you're going to do that, you might as well just go for it.
Like, I wonder, does he think it's going to go off this wall? And he's playing, it's a no-hitter, so I feel like your team's never going to be mad at you for selling out for the catch on that one.
Right,
if it's like he should have.
I think the quote-unquote percentages came out, and it was 99.5% chance they were going to win the game. Well, the 0.5% chance happened as Tanner Scott gets walked off again. That I don't think the Dodgers are going to be postseason favorites at all. I like to go to, and I know a lot of you, we have a lot of people out there that aren't necessarily in the gambling world. But one of the phrases I usually stumble into is like, the gambling world is real. They're dealing with money. They're dealing with percentages and what people are going to bet on. And it's not exactly a sport. Well, it is a sports science, I suppose. But it's also how much money is getting placed, blah, blah, blah. There's equations that go into it, says me. There is a DraftKings ad coming. I'll be honest, it's not a part of this. My favorite stat, and I did say this on Talking Baseball today, and you can do this with every team. The numbers begin to skew either way. The Dodgers are 64-13 when they score 5 or plus runs, which, by the way, that number's good. It's not like special. There's a couple teams out there that are like 63-5 if they get 5 plus runs. 64-13 when they score 5 plus. The Dodgers are 15-50 when they score less than 5. So I don't know. You start talking playoff baseball and who's going to be out there, which is the big question for these Dodgers. Like, Tyler Glass now got scratched in game 1 and they started Shohei. For all of you that are, hey, should Shohei even pitch anymore? The Dodgers are using Shohei on unplanned starts. Like, we're there for the Dodgers. And good. Like, I don't know. Shohei's a really good athlete that I think he can handle as long as he's good to go and with proper rest. I don't think you should have to worry about that. The names still jump off the board. You wouldn't want to bet against the Dodgers, but what if I told you the Dodgers are basically a lock for a 3-game playoff? And I can't tell you it's going to be at home. In the National League, the Brewers are 89-55. They are going to have a home playoff series in the ALDS. The Phillies are, 2.5 games up on the Dodgers? I'm trying to do the game math there. But they're also very close to the Padres. Like, the Dodgers aren't a lock to win their division, which they're currently behind the Cubbies. So the Dodgers could be playing a road 3-game wild card series. And if you believe in pressure, which you should, because it's part of sports, the Dodgers that came into the season as a super team, defending champions, which we haven't had a defending champion win in baseball since 2000. The Dodgers, you can look at the names on paper and I'm sure they can figure out a pitching plan. Right now, the two guys in their bullpen that you'd want to see pitch on paper would be Scott and Trinan, and those two guys got their last two losses. And their bullpen has been sus all year, and I didn't know that was a word that I use normally. Kopech and Yates are back there. The Dodgers need a lot to come together. They still have the names to come together. I guess the bigger problem in the National League is there's one dominant team, and it's a team that's had no postseason success, if we're just being honest. I did a whole episode on the Brew Crew. And again, I have no ill will towards the Brewers. I, in fact, very much like the Brewers as an organization and what their team represents this year. But that was a long-winded way of go check out Buster's article. And basically he's saying that none of the favorites should be favorites because there aren't one. I started that whole thing by saying that Buster was hard on the Yankees. And a lot of the beat writers are. What was the phrasing? Okay, so there's a couple in here. The Yankees went 4-2 this week against first-place clubs, Houston and Toronto. Good.
We like that.
He then says, of course, no Yankee fan can be too secure knowing one of the team's patented meltdowns is never far behind. That's Ken. That's not Joe's McFly. That's Ken Rosenthal. He goes on to talk about how their Yankees are using creative cuts for Aaron Judge because he's playing with a bad elbow. What should I say? Not bad elbow.
And he's has a forearm strain.
Forearm strain, right. Flexor strain.
Flexor.
There we go. Ken Rosenthal says, maybe the Yankees shouldn't be reinventing a game they often struggle to play at the most basic level. That's if baseball was like, I haven't seen Pretty Little Lies, but I assume it's stuff like that. But the baseball version, I have no clue. Ken Rosenthal with the teeth and daggers out on the Yankees. So it was interesting getting ready for this article. It was either kind of why each team is flawed or a lot of articles out there, every team's X factor that I don't know. I feel like I've seen too much postseason baseball to say every team's X factor. Like, would you have said Steve Pearce in the Red Sox World Series year? I don't.
Baseball just things happen.
Highly doubtful. And it's a sport that can work that way, but sometimes you do look at a team, and El Bombi, Adolis Garcia. Did he end up being the X factor? Was it Corey Seager? Was it the whole lineup that just mauled cats that whole year? That we've fallen into an interesting part of this baseball season, 3 weeks out from the postseason. The things that need to be decided are the American League East. I talked about the Yankees a little bit. They just played Toronto. They took 2 out of 3, and if they didn't, it would be over in the AL East because Toronto would be 4 games up and have the tiebreaker on the Yankees. That the AL East would be done, and Toronto would have won the AL East. They're still, 3 games up, while being 2 games up. Which
There's some people and somewhat credibly arguing that they needed to sweep for the division to be in play. It can happen, but obviously 3 games and 19 games to go is an uphill battle. Got to do your job.
Crazier things. Both teams are off today. Kevin Gausman with arguably his best start of the season against the New York Yankees. Toronto probably wins the East. You have to be realistic about it. The Red Sox are 3.5 games back. Do we know who has the tiebreaker between them? Toronto and Boston?
I can find out pretty quick.
Because that would be a little more interesting if technically the Red Sox and Yankees were both 3 games out. That just leaves a little more wiggle room.
Boston's record against Toronto, Boston is 3-7 against Toronto, so I believe that means the Jays have it clinched, but they'll play at least one more time.
Yeah, so essentially 4 games out for Boston, 3 games out for the Yankees. That the AL East is still up in the air. If the Yankees are peaking at the right time, let's see. Toronto has to slip up. And I can't promise you they're going to do that because I like their veterans in their rotation. I like that they're first in batting average and first in on base. Second in OPS, fourth in runs scored. Your Toronto Blue Jays offense is really getting it done. I've been trying to tell anyone that'll listen about George Springer's year, along with Vladdy. Second half Vladdy is now becoming a thing. And Bo Bichette, I was reading some free agency articles. The Bichette free agency is going to be very interesting. He's rating out as the worst defensive shortstop. He's hitting a lot. And he's always hit a lot except last year. That it's just funny. Is he going to be treated as Xander Bogaerts? Is he going to be treated as Marcus Semien? Both of those guys got a lot of money. So either way, good for Bo. Just going to be interesting. How do teams in the market see him? If you're willing to give him the keys at shortstop for a couple more years, in theory, that boosts his value. But in a way, maybe that hurts his value. Very interesting to see how teams value that. But he has been very... Fangraphs has him as the 15th overall player this year in their power ranking. So that was some talking Jays. The AL East is still up in the air when you compare it to the AL Central is done. The Tigers are 8.5 up. The West is still up for grabs. Houston and Seattle have seemingly been 2.5 games separated the entire season. Ever since Seattle kind of coughed it up in May.
Ever since it got to that point the first time, basically.
It feels like it's just been there. And my Texas Rangers, who I very much liked all season long because of their hitting, who ended up having some of the worst hitting you can have and some of the best pitching you can have, they have gotten themselves back in the mix with a hot stretch lately. They have a fantastic run differential, if you believe in that kind of thing. If they get in the dance, watch out, because that's a horrifying team. Bochy at manager, starting pitching, names in the lineup, postseason history. The problem is, if you're getting the Texas Rangers in at this point, it would either have to be, honestly, like Boston and New York are kind of good. They're kind of in. The only question mark team is Seattle at this point, which on paper should go toe-to-toe with anyone. Julio has turned it on. I was shocked. I shouldn't say shocked. I gave Seattle an apology on Talking Baseball. Julio's a superstar. He is. This year was a big year for me. Julio hitting with an OPS that started with a 6 going into the All-Star break. Didn't love that. Julio with an OPS approaching the 8s. The way he plays defense, that guy's a superstar. 3 players. This was my second favorite stat of the day. And for those that listen to Wake and Jake and Talking Baseball, yeah, a little overlap. You don't mind. 3 players with 110 stolen bases, 110 home runs by age 24. 1, Julio Rodriguez. That's why we're talking about it. 2, Alex Rodriguez. How about that? 3, Mike Trout. That's a pretty good...
It's a good group.
That's a pretty strong group. Those are guys who have big arguments for what they did. That I don't know. It's kind of been the weird thing in the air for a little bit. If this Seattle team, which is basically the only hope for Kansas City to put up a final fight for this season, can the Guardians find anything? Tampa was there, but then they lost their last 3, which has them at a 1.7% chance to make the postseason. It's almost over. If Seattle can put together basically one more good week, it has them at an 80% playoff percentage. You'd like to think they've got some weird stuff in their recent history and their whole history that the West can still be won, and there's one AL wild card spot, maybe. But one of the most talented, balanced teams on paper would have to slip up in these final 3 weeks. In the National League, the East is won. The Phillies are 7 games up on the Mets. That's Jover. The Central is won. The Brewers are 7.5 games up on the Cubbies. That's done. Dodgers and Padres are 1 game apart in the NL West. Both are 3-7 in their last 10. Tough. Your wild card, you have to start getting nuts. If the Giants, Reds, Diamondbacks, or Cardinals want to make the dance, those teams have 19-ish games left. You have to put together like a 15-4.
Yeah.
You have to figure the last NL wildcard spot is probably going to be 87 minimum. Yeah.
80, 86, 87. You would think should be the target.
One of those teams has to get hot, and you'd probably need the Mets to get cold, which I've seen crazier things. But it's pretty much done. The Giants and Diamondbacks play each other a lot coming up. They have 2 series in the next week and a half. So if one of them just dominates, if one of them puts up a 6-0, that's probably your best chance. I don't think either team has proved they can or will do that. Cincinnati Reds, who have kind of been America's hope to be the crazy team that makes this a kook fest, I don't know. I've quit the Reds. Hunter Green is back, and he looks dominant. So, hey, maybe they can get on a starting pitcher, pass the baton, Green to Lodolo, to Littell, to Abbott, to Singer, and just flip it and have a miraculous postseason run. It's tough to imagine. It feels over, which basically means in the National League we're playing for seeding, which, my goodness. And I think that's the weirdest part about this little time frame we're caught up in. And, I teased it before, so I'll do it now. This episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Before I tell you this NL dive, this episode is sponsored by DraftKings. NFL is here. If you hadn't noticed, find out more in a second. And every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. And right now, if you bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly, plus $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. If you like live betting, DraftKings is where you want to be. Same game parlays for a shot at even bigger payouts. I know my buddies play all of the bonuses and different offers they have. No sweat. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code JMSports. That's code JMSports to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet, plus over $200 on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. In the delicious National League, this has been teed up a little bit. We did this last time with Jolly Olive. It was a Jolly Foolish week last week. How do you like that?
The dream.
Let's say the NL playoff field is set, because I think it is. Let's say the top 2 teams are set. I kind of feel okay with it. Could the Phillies slip up? Sure. The Brewers kind of can at this point. They will be one of the top 2 teams. The Phillies are still the Phillies. They did just lose Trey Turner for a little bit. Hamstring, most hits in the NL. Let's see. Let's say for this exercise, it's done. That means the Dodgers, considered a super team coming into this season. The Cubbies, kind of their chips all in season. Traded for Kyle Tucker. Called up some guys. The whole Dansby till now process is complete. The San Diego Padres, their whole season to their climax of, holy smokes, they had a huge deadline, traded one of the top prospects in baseball for Mason Miller. They filled out the rest of their lineup. They were the best team last year. Are they the best team this year? I think all around they have an argument. And the New York Metropolitans, who sneaky, went to the NLCS last year. I like all of their pitchers. I have no idea how they would execute it come the postseason. And Mark Vientos has been one of the best players in the second half. A guy that we were kind of wondering, what's going on here? What's next for him? he has kicked into gear. And go check out the year Soto's having. Is he already at 40-30? Let's double check.
Awfully close.
Juan Soto is at 38 homers and 29 stolen bases. I think in the last 15 days, he has double-digit steals. I think he's kind of a baseball savant. Shocker. Who's figured out the hop, step, steal thing. And now he's got that, he, per usual, he is leading the league in walks. He has a 401 on base, which leads the National League. And he's going to end up having a 7-WAR season with 40 homers and 35-plus stolen bases. And if he sneaks up close to it, don't be surprised if he gets to 40, just to say he's one of the guys that did that. 161 OPS plus is right at his 160 OPS plus career number. The Juan Soto to the Mets thing that had some silly stuff early on, which we tastefully sifted through, has ended up in a fine spot.
You see those high leverage numbers that are starting to even out now?
This guy. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Francisco Alvarez just came back for them. I like them. I think if they muddy up a postseason game, I think they're going to be a lot of fun. Like, we've seen Clay Holmes look pretty strong in the postseason. David Peterson's been their guy. They called up these 3 rookies, Tong, Sproat, McLean. Sean Manaea, I like. Diaz has put together an amazing season. I think he's one of my... when the season starts and you're just throwing stuff around to do it, I think I threw out maybe a Diaz falls off. He sure is not. He has been amazing this year. I like Tyler Rogers. Brooks Raley, okay. Ryan Helsley, I should like. Soto, Gregory. I like the arm talent. Reed Garrett, Stanek, same boat. Like, the Mets can ugly up a playoff game really strong, especially one of those 3-gamers that right now it would be Mets going to the Dodgers, which I don't know what happens in 3 games there. And then it would be the Padres going to Wrigley to tee it up. And just a reminder, if the Padres end up beating out the Dodgers, that would then be the Dodgers going to Wrigley Field right now. The Cubs have me in a pretzel. PCA's in a big slump. Kyle Tucker is banged up again. Ian Happ is hot, on and off. That their pitching's always thrown me off just a little bit, outside of Shota. Matt Boyd puts together another good start. Whole season has freaked me out. That you love the playoff lineup, and again, maybe that can be the story, and that's what carries them. But you're talking 4 World Series contenders in 3-game playoffs. That I think that's why, yes, the Dodgers on paper with their name talent. I think the Phillies, just the storyline of baseball they've had. And even the Padres have, if this was Game of Thrones, who has the righteous heir to the NL throne, they have their own pretty good argument. That the NL is shaping up to be fantastic. I'm super interested if you play the exercise in the AL, and let's say the Jays and Tigers run it out. They've been up there for a while. The only thing, I guess I want to be careful-ish with how I say this. Right now it would be Yankees, Red Sox, Astros, Mariners, which, man, I don't know. If we're doing divisional, I need that for 5 or 7. 3 games. And this isn't Yankees, because from what I've seen against the Red Sox or the Yankees, if it's 3, 5, 7, 9, it's the Red Sox. Like, they have dominated the Yankees this year. So it's not, if anything, I should be rooting for the shorter series, just hoping the Yankees can stumble into 2 there. It's just if you're going to do a divisional series, to have it come down to 2 to 3 nights, I don't know. Something about that just feels weird to me. And that's the thing. Right now, the Yankees and the Red Sox have kind of put some space between the Mariners that I don't know how much of it can be sorted out. And hey, it's the beauty of baseball. Something happens that you never expect. One of these teams gets swept while another team sweeps, and things can change. That we're at a tipping point of the season where the talking points are becoming just a little tighter. That I think I saw a couple X Factor videos or X Factor articles or Ken Rosenthal's kind of poop on every team article. I will say, there was I believe this is in The Athletic as well. Because everyone, if you're going to attack the Brewers, which Brewer fans are probably yelling like, hey, you keep saying there's no good team when there's one good team. Everyone keeps attacking the Brewers for their lack of homer ability, which I get. Like, I understand what we're doing here. And there was, let me see if I can get the stat back. The postseason home run stat, our guy Dave Schoenfield, who I think we said we were going to befriend before the season, and we missed.
We've got time.
There's time. There's 3 weeks. Maybe that's
otherwise off season.
The record for teams that out-homer their opponent in the last 4 postseasons, 2021, 25-2, if you hit more home runs. 2022, 22-6. 23, 25-3, 24, 23-8. So that's 95-19 in the last 4 years if you out-homer your opponent in the postseason game. Sometimes we come at the nerds. Those are pretty convincing and a little obvious at the surface level. Mm-hmm. You might not need a full analytics department to say if we out-homer the other team, we'll win. It is a little skewed because, what they say, 47 postseason games have had an equal number of homers. So how do you measure that? That gets a little tricky. And boy, do the Yankees homer.
They can hit homers.
Boy, do the Yankees homer. Should we like the Yankees more?
I mean, it's sort of the whole thing the whole game we've played on Talking Yanks, and a bit here too, all years. Like, the roster is perhaps our favorite roster. They've certainly since 2020. Like,
most liked players.
Like, okay, but the bullpen's probably on the whole shallower than our favorite teams, or thinking back to the late 2010s rosters. But like it is a good team, and they, for much of the summer, were just awful at winning games. I don't know what to do with that. The talent's there, the threats are there for a playoff set, even on a individual player-by-player level. The defense is better than previous years. It's when they have to work together that it gets really scary, right, which is what you love in a defense. But
and Rosenthal taking shots at their inventive cutoff plans. I don't know. I think I can't tell if it's a good thing or a bad thing that I think in the next 3 weeks, our opinions on all these teams are going to change. If the Brewers were to limp for a little bit, I think everyone's going to say they got too hot too early. If the Yankees stay hot, I think everyone's going to be like, oh, these Yankees are back. If the Dodgers were to get hot, like all of our pre-notions coming into the season about these teams, we're still ready to kick into, which I don't know how fair that is after watching them play 140-plus baseball games. There's something that feels wrong about that. There's something that feels like that's where we are. I can't tell you if Seattle's going to get hot and win the West and be a sexy World Series pick. I can't tell you if they're going to get caught by the Rangers or the Royals. So I don't know if that's good for baseball. I think it is. Hopefully that leads to some high-drama games the last week or two of the season. You'd like if the NL wildcard had a little more juice, but I'm not going to say that because that would be me attacking the Mets as they have a series at Philly coming up. So if you're Philly and you want to muddy the waters a little bit.
I mean, I'll let you in on a secret I heard in this office. Jolly Olive, nervous.
Yeah.
Close to the situation.
Hey, you look at the Mets rotation and you see 3 rookies who have just gotten started.
And it's been nice starts.
Nice starts. Good arm talent. Names that I can make a lot of puns with.
Yeah.
Tong, Sproat, and McLean. Feed the baby. One of my buddies, Meathead Rob, ate a lot because he was a meathead. Is a meathead. Whenever he was hungry, he'd just scream, "You gotta feed the baby!" And that would suck. God, that would suck. And he knew he had us.
That's good.
Okay, let's do some football and some cricket as we traditionally do on this program. It was the opening week of the NFL. And it's all brought to you by the Hall of Fame. They have one. Maybe you should have some Hall of Fame. Smart bettors rely on the data. Or is it data? Hall of Fame hands you powerful analytics at your fingertips to tilt the odds in your favor. Hall of Fame is your go-to for building smarter parlays. No more missing by one leg. They give you all the probabilities and insight you need to succeed. They check out everything. If you need to adjust before game time, maximize your chances of hitting with confidence. Whether you're going parlays or just money lines, they've got stats to help guide your decisions. And right now, our listeners get a 7-day free trial and 50% off their first month. Just download Hall of Fame app and use code BAKERS at checkout. Limited time only, 7-day free trial, 50% off, and their first month. When you use code BAKERS at checkout, download the Hall of Fame app on iOS, Android, enter code BAKERS, and you are all set. So, Jakey Travel Blogs, I'll be a little tighter with this one, and they are interconnected. If you have no idea, if you follow our social media, you understand why that's funny. We went to a cricket tournament in Barbados this weekend. You're already commenting on the YouTube how tan I am. Thank you. My first tan in like 7 years.
I feel like everybody came back really tan.
We're going to have to check the tapes. Shelfie went on back-to-back beach vacations, so he's a level of tan that I didn't know. I don't know.
There's been people in the office saying Shelfie is the most tan I've ever seen a person look.
Dan Robinson, you don't know how that's going to tan, but 2 weeks on the beach has done him well. We went to a beach cricket tournament. Jimmy's biggest passion in life has become cricket, and we've had some interactions with them. They're all fantastic people as they're bringing cricket to the States, and they're doing a lot of different fun baseball cricket overlaps that we competed. We did a whole training series. Go check it out. We've got all of our best people, a.k.a. Zach, on it. And it's just a really good documentary, well-made product about us learning the game, training, and getting better with all the kooks and hijinks of John Boy Media mixed in. We were down in Barbados for about 5 days or so, including travel. Competed. You know, they gave out a player of the tournament, which that could mean a lot of things. I did win that. I do think it was a little more Rudy than Otani, but who am I to say? They don't give out a lot of players at tournaments to the bad people. That's what Reggie Jackson said. We went down there. We were the Americans. We basically just tried to hit dingers, and we did against the bad teams. Not as much against the good teams, but it was a blast. You know, a lot of big crew from our company went down there. A few people that hadn't been outside of the country and just seeing a different place. Cole Tucker came with us. He's a special person in my heart that he was having a blast. But I say all of this as everyone's worried about me doing another travel blog like I did with San Diego. We played a ton of cricket. We went to a cricket game. That it was a quiet quiet game. I don't know if it was just the weeknight or the matchup. Was kind of hoping for the crazy environment. We didn't necessarily get that. Everyone was a little tired, too. I mean, you do travel day into beach cricket into cricket game.
They're active days.
They're active days. We make a lot of content. The final day of the tournament became the win, as it became decided we weren't going to win. A little extra rum punch for everyone. Rummy, rummy, rum in my tummy tum. There's a PG-13 version of that as well. We had a good time. The problem, it was NFL opening weekend. That Thursday night, we had to record Talking Yanks, which if you want to go check that out, BBD Wrestling with some tech monster, as we brought a Starlink with us. Kind of crazy technology. As the Yankees saved their season against the Houston Astros and took 2 out of 3. That was a long one, and we missed the opening night Eagles-Cowboys game. Shelfie, Dan Robinson, did not, as he's a big Go Birds fan. Basically just got verbal updates on that, which, again, sounded interesting. The spit heard around the world. What a way!
Crazy.
What a way to open up the NFL season. I mean, that's just insane.
During an injury timeout before the game's even begun in earnest.
Crazy. And then, the updates from there is like, whoa, high-scoring game. Here comes the over. All the gamblers know that's a bad beat like that to start the season is insane. And then from there, it's that Dak played well. A couple big CeeDee Lamb drops could have changed this one. And that, let's track the story with the Eagles this year. Obviously, that's obvious, the defending champions. But they are going to feel like a different ball club this year. I think, trying to repeat. They do get as much leash as any team ever for how dominant they finished last season. And for how dominant they finished last season, they started it slow. So the fact they win this game, I do think the Cowboys' offense is going to be something this year. Javonte was a big fantasy winner of the weekend with his 2 touchdowns. What's that, Beebs?
Just one of my leagues had him. I on the last day decided I had a pretty good team, so I ended up going Calvin Ridley, start him, and then before it even starts, the guy I was most nervous about gets thrown out for spitting.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So pretty immediate regret.
You can't predict baseball. That led into the Friday night Sao Paulo game where the Chargers played the Chiefs. Here's what I'll tell you. We watched the final quarter of this game because we went to the cricket game. And it was interesting because I'm watching football with a lot of guys I don't normally watch football with. Cole Tuck, Socials Kev, Shelfie, Zoe. That it's funny seeing everyone's different demeanors. Cole's funniest trait, he is a massive fantasy football person, and it's the only time he's toxic.
Oh.
Very jovial, delightful human. If he's playing against you in fantasy, he hates you. Some of the things he said about Ladd McConkey, surprising. Nothing bad at all, but just like rooting. He's like, I need
a real, just like you and me.
Just like a true fantasy, like I want a Ladd McConkey fumble so bad. It's like, man, that's the odds of that are so thin. You need him to catch the ball then fumble. That was funny to see. We all had a moment where, everyone had a little rum, maybe a little Mary Jane, that we were watching the game on meth streams.
It's one of my favorite sites.
And that kind of broke me. I hit that
That's where you guys
point
pulled it up, huh?
where it's like, what? We are in Barbados in 2025 watching the Chiefs and Chargers play in Brazil on meth streams?
Wasn't that the YouTube game?
Yeah, I think we screwed that up. I think
YouTube held up real nice.
I think
me.
we could have just watched on YouTube, but we just messed up. Shelfie said YouTube Barbados didn't have it. I think we were just in too deep. Anyways, it was funny that everyone, also the room was doing the NFL script, like Mahomes, they're going to win this game. We've seen it before. That's how they want to open. Mahomes does that Superman pass. And, man, I lit up. That's the same bucket as Steph Curry. Like, guys just don't do that. I've watched every other NFL quarterback try to do that. The linebacker catches it, and it's a horrific error. For Mahomes, it gets in the guy's hand. It's a first down, and he tries to do that, and he does it. Unfortunately for them, they played the Chargers. Justin Herbert with a big game, and there was a lot of Broncos hype this preseason, and I'm in a weird spot with my Broncos. I mean, there's a lot of you that probably don't even know I'm a Broncos fan. I don't really wave the flag that strongly. It was fun to see the Bo Nix season happen last year. Everyone was on the ponies this year, like sports gambling-wise, like who's your sneaky team? Bo Nix taking a leap. Everyone likes Sean Payton. They added some pieces. For me, yes, I see that case. I also saw just as much of a case for the Broncos to if Bo Nix has the sophomore season, a la C.J. Stroud and what other players have done. I still don't have Sean Payton as like a guru. I realize the guy has a crazy NFL resume. I still would like to see a little more. I think the Broncos snuck up on teams last year, and he did put together a fantastic system for Bo Nix, but I don't. Sometimes they list the top coaches and Nix comes out or Peyton comes out. I don't know if we should be there yet. Anyways, because I can point to Harbaugh's resume with the Chargers, and whenever this guy takes over a team, they get better, especially in their second year. And that's what he has. I know they had some O-line concerns. For me, in the AFC West, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they're going to be there. Every Harbaugh team in their second season basically peaks. That I still like Herbert. I still like the Chargers. I think there's something there. I don't know what it is. Also, the Raiders from last year are only going to go up. I mean, adding Ginty, adding Pete Carroll, adding Geno Smith. Do you remember who the Raiders were playing at quarterback last year? That I don't know. There was too much of a Broncos hype train, and maybe this is just my weird Broncos fandom where I'm fading the fade. What's this have to do with Chiefs-Chargers? Well, it has to do with them not giving Mahomes the ball back. And that's Harbaugh, and that's Herbert. Kind of a lackluster ending because you thought you were going to get that Mahomes final drive. You sure didn't. Know what else got an audible laugh out of us? Do you know where the NFL touchback is now?
Oh,
if you kick it through the end zone on the opening kickoff.
It's up there.
It's not meant to be mean. It's not meant to be a gotcha. We all cackled because we were having a conversation about, because I think when everyone was like, this game ends with Mahomes, we did like NFL rigged, our sports rigged, and blah, 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 and NFL and how they've changed the game. Kickoff through the end zone is the 35-yard line.
35.
That's a drive. That's a drive.
That's pretty doable.
If you get one first down, you're close to field goal range. Which, hey, they're trying to get offense in the sport. It's just very funny that an era that's not that long ago, it was not that. And good. Points on the board. I'm all about it. Anyways, all of this, me basically telling you I didn't watch two games, is to tee up that I didn't watch a ton. We flew back on the first NFL Sunday. That was a tough break for everyone. We watched Yankees-Toronto in the rubber match on the way to the airport and at the airport. It was a lot of fantasy updates, which that was a fun game to play. Here's what I'll tell you in a speed run. Bucks-Falcons, sure. Not super into it. Bengals-Browns, if you haven't looked into how the Browns lost the game, go look into it. Sometimes we get mad, or sometimes the Browns are just so the Browns in our heads, we don't care. They had a rookie kicker blow the game, and they just shouldn't have lost this game to the Bengals, and they did. I was surprised my buddies, because I was getting text updates from my buddies, because it was NFL opening weekend. You should be on your couch watching it, not flying home from Barbados. That I couldn't believe there was more uproar on that. Colts looked good. Interesting. Daniel Jones. Decently run organization sometimes. something to track. Raiders, they were my against the spread pick. I think the Raiders might be good. I love Pete Carroll. I have a sweet spot from him from USC. And it used to always be the fun fact of the NFL when he was on the Seahawks that he was the oldest coach. And you're like, what? That's the most spry guy on the field.
Does not carry himself like it.
He's back on the road at New England. Nice start for them. Cardinals, Saints, we don't care. Steelers, Jets ended up being the game of the weekend. I did tell you guys in my one fantasy league I care about, I did put my eggs in Justin Fields' basket. Feeling good about that to start. I guess if you're a team that plays the Steelers a lot, you're not a Steelers fan because they have one of the best fan bases in the world. As an outsider, I guess where you land with Aaron Rodgers, I very much understand, and that's on you. Just everything in the pot here, Rodgers, Tomlin, DK Metcalf, I'm interested in the story, is what I'll say. And I hope Justin Fields puts up a historic fantasy season. Giants, Commanders, no. I had Giants. 3 straight opening games without a touchdown. That's hard to do.
Combined 12 points in their last 3 opening days. They're just not good.
That's just hard to do, man.
Just not good.
Jags, Panthers, no. I will say there was some late Panthers hype with our guy Bryce Young by the end of this football preseason. The Jaguars, keep an eye on. Just keep an eye on them. If their new head coach is an offensive guru, even though he had that weird Duval in his interview, their offense could be good if Trevor Lawrence is like average. And he has shown he can be that. That I'm interested in the Jaguars this year. Broncos, Titans, not really in a rude way. Sean Payton has a tough moment in this game where they could have cooked a field goal and ended it. They did not. The Titans should be one of the lesser teams this year, even if Cam Ward does have the sauce. Let's see. Go RJ Harvey, go. Niners, Seahawks. Boy, do my Niners fans hate the kicker, Jake Moody. Something to watch for them this year. Bosa with a huge final play. Otherwise, we'd be talking about like Seahawks. Oh, Darnold, the final drive to come back and win it. Funny how football works that way. Packers rolled on the Lions. There's a lot of Packers hype. They get a nice win over the Lions. Lions, no Ben Johnson. That'll become a storyline soon if it continues like that. Rams, Texans with kind of an ugly one, except the punch that helps win them the game at the end. And then how football always wins. Ravens, Bills as the final game. As I walked into my apartment after the 40-hour travel day from Barbados, guy that works in my building, big Bills fan. Hey, how you doing? I'm exhausted, dog. Hope everything's good. He's like, yeah, my team just got worked. I was like, yeah, that's how it goes. Opening weekend, they'll be fine. By the time I walk up, the Bills scored the first touchdown to bring it down from 15 to 8 or 7 or wherever it was. And then the Derrick Henry fumble. Insanity. Absolute insanity in that game. 41-40 final. Lamar Jackson, one of my favorite athletes of all time. The Fan has gotten banned from NFL games. And good, if you hadn't seen it, Ravens score a touchdown and a fan kind of casually touches a Ravens player head, and then he pushes Lamar, and Lamar pushes him. And guess what? He should have. And I was glad to see that the NFL responded that way. And it was good. Booger McFarland was on ESPN waiting to go, and they were like, Booger, Lamar Jackson pushes a fan. What do you think? He's like, good. Hey, you come on the field. That's where I work.
Can't be touching D-Hop's head.
Can't do that. Sick catch by DeAndre Hopkins, by the way. And yeah, Lamar was just, I don't know how some guys do it. Immediately when the game, so he's on the bench, all pissed off. A fan touched him. They rolled in this game. They should have won. He goes over, he gives Josh Allen the biggest dap ever. And then he had a great post-game presser. He's such a dude. Tractor Cito. It's crazy that the Ravens ended up not being the story of this game. And hot take at the buzzer. Hard to watch that I didn't think that anyone would legitimately be in a conversation with Patrick Mahomes as best quarterback as long as that dude was going to play. And if you don't think it's a conversation with Allen right now, Allen is playing better. I don't know what that means, but Josh Allen is playing better at quarterback. Maybe it's the team, maybe it's the system, maybe it's something else. But he's out playing Mahomes, man. Which, when Mahomes came onto the scene, it just felt like one of those things that we weren't going to see. And it's happening in live time. Josh is going to have to do something in the postseason because that's what we care about in America. That was a long way of saying I was pretty jealous. I was just watching football from my phone all weekend. I can't wait for next weekend. And I can't wait for Wednesday when we'll see you guys back here. You're the best. Subscribe. We appreciate you.